Parasite, Gu, breeding long vitae path, starting from the love-enamored Gu. Author, Thousand Lakes True Person. Chapter 491. Night Deist, you wouldn't want all the female cultivators of Piao Miao Palace to die here, would you? 4. At that moment, she took a deep breath. The anger in her beautiful eyes began to subside, replaced by calm. All right, I agree to aid your cultivation, but you must spare the many cultivators from Piao Miao Palace. They must not suffer any harm. Also, the compensation previously mentioned should be appropriately reduced. What are you talking about, stupid woman? Money cannot be less. Zhou Sui scornfully said. You. Her calm state of mind was now even more furious. Her pretty face turned red with rage. Such a shameless man. The asshole's words were very clear, he wanted both money and people. How greedy could this man be? Even demon cultivators would not go this far. But one cannot undermine oneself when under someone else's roof. Who could blame her for her bad luck? She had been uncautious for a moment and fell into an enemy trap. Her life was no longer in her hands. She could only think of this instance as being bitten by a dog. No, wait, perhaps she could deplete the man's pure yang qi while he was being unfavorable to her. She had already thought out various countermeasures. If this man dared to harm her, she would certainly not be polite and let this fellow experience the might of the Piao Miao Palace's ladies cultivators. Not anyone could bully her. Fine, I agree to it, but hope you do not renege. Yefiro took a deep breath, calming herself down. In that case, hand over the creation jade dew water on your body. Zhou Sui said excitedly. He could finally get the creation jade dew water. It was a rare heavenly earthly miracle water in the world. Even a third stage object-searching Gu could hardly find it. Only when one had advanced to the fourth stage, could they find its traces. It could be imagined how precious it was. This was a treasure that couldn't be bought with money. Hey! Yefiro blinked, a bit confused. The information contained in this sentence was enormous, which made her feel a little overwhelmed. For a moment, she couldn't react or know how to respond. Could it be that this man wasn't after her primordial yin power but the creation jade dew water on her body? Did she misunderstand his words? Her face flushed with both shame and anger, she hadn't expected such a misunderstanding. What's wrong? Are you going to refuse? Zhou Sui said impatiently. How did you know that I carry creation jade dew water? Yefiro was perplexed. Truth be told, the creation jade dew water was a precious item she had obtained from a secret realm. Its value was inestimable, and it could not only enhance cultivation but also heal injuries. But this was one of her trump cards. Surprisingly, Master Mu knew about it so easily, which was unthinkable. She didn't know how she had exposed herself. You don't need to know how I knew. Just hand over the creation jade dew water. Zhou Sui didn't feel like explaining. How could he reveal his secret to others? Fine. Yefiro felt more and more that Master Mu was a mystery. Maybe he was someone she knew. Otherwise, how could he know her secret? But no matter how she thought about it, no one came to mind who bore any resemblance to Master Mu. Even so, she still took out the creation jade dew water. Though it was a precious resource, compared with the numerous nascent soul cultivators of Piao Miao Palace, the creation jade dew water didn't count for much. If she could trade it for her sister's lives, then it would be worth it. Whoosh! In an instant, an invisible force wrapped around the white jade bottle and it vanished into thin air, not knowing where it went. Good, very good. Once your Piao Miao Palace compatriots have paid the ransom, you all can leave. Zhou Sui felt pleased, his heart thrilled. He sensed that the white bottle contained the creation jade dew water he had always dreamt of obtaining. Now that he had the main ingredient for the medicine Gu, he felt accomplished. What a jerk! Hearing his words, Yefiro was furious. This guy was downright pleased with himself after gaining an advantage. The loss she suffered this time was tremendous. Not only had she lost a considerable number of superior spirit stones and various fourth-stage materials, but she had also lost the creation jade dew water. She had nearly lost herself due to a misunderstanding. Luckily, this man seemed to have little interest in her. If it were not the case, she would have been in big trouble. She would have been captured by Master Mu and have her primordial yin power taken away. She surreptitiously made up her mind that she wouldn't be so rash next time. If she once again fell into a divinity transformation relic trap, she feared she wouldn't be as lucky as she was now. Chapter 492. Ancient Era's Secrets, Fusion Phenomenon _1. 3 months later. Numerous forces had prepared a large amount of top-grade spirit stones, 4th stage materials, and 4th stage spiritual medicine etc. After all, mobilizing such a vast amount of resources required a lot of time. Fortunately, these forces also wanted to quickly rescue the nascent soul ancestor, so they significantly shortened the time. Otherwise, 3 months might not be enough. Next, according to Zhou Sui's instructions, they threw these treasures into the divinity transformation relic. Of course, Zhou Sui was a man who kept his promises. Since they had paid the ransom, naturally they were all released. Buzz buzz. In an instant, an invisible force enveloped Deist Unlimited and others, instantly sending these nascent soul cultivators out of the island of Kurong sect. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in the external sea area. We're out, trapped for several years, finally out. The numerous nascent soul cultivators were overjoyed and felt incredibly excited. They'd been imprisoned for several years, lost their freedom, and only at this moment did they realize the preciousness of freedom. It felt like they had escaped from the jaws of death. One by one, they stood in mid-air, breathing the fresh air from the outside world. What do you think of the successor of the Kurong sect? The leader of Suanbao Tower, Tian Sui, had a very gloomy face. To be honest, it was the first time in his life that he had suffered such a big loss. As a businessman, he had always taken advantage of others, not the other way round. But now, he felt like he had been cruelly conned. The pain caused him great financial loss, and it was perhaps the biggest loss Suanbao Tower had ever suffered. It was impossible for him not to want to take revenge. Humph, with the protection of a 5th stage formation, what can we do? It's better for him not to leave this island, otherwise my Xianyan sect won't let him go. The master of Xianyan sect, 7 Emotions Demon King, gritted his teeth, his eyes firmly fixed on the distant, huge island of Kurong sect. At this moment, that divinity transformation relic was once again enshrouded by a white mist, making it impossible to see what was happening inside. But there was an even more terrifying prohibition array coming from inside. It felt as if the island had come alive with countless prohibitive formations intertwining with each other, forming a 3-dimensional defense, even more terrifying than before. Precisely, this was the 5th stage formation, and it was the mountain protection array of the divinity transformation sect. If no one was there to maintain its operation, it would be just fine. With long-term attacks, it might even break. But now, someone had started to operate this formation, and this had increased its power tenfold. In a hasty attack, there would likely be a terrible counterattack. After all, no one knew what other capabilities this 5th stage formation might have. Although 7 Emotions Demon King was angry, he knew he had to assess the situation and wouldn't act recklessly. Considering the materials needed by the mysterious Taoist, many are actually formation materials. Perhaps the 5th stage formation of this island is not as powerful as we imagine, and there may be many flaws. That's why the Taoist needs to acquire formation materials for repairs. If we unite, it's not impossible to break this island. The leader of Haisha Palace, Sea-Splitting Demon King, implied, trying to rally the nascent soul cultivators to attack the island once again. As long as they didn't fall into the formation, they still had a chance of winning. Haha, Sea-Splitting Demon King, if you want to attack, just you go ahead. Why drag us into it? As you said indeed, perhaps there are flaws in the 5th formation, unable to be used many times. But would you dare to gamble? Do you know how many nascent souls need to die for the formation to collapse? Or maybe with good luck, the death of a few dozens can break the formation. But with bad luck, all of us can't break it even if we die. Deist Unlimited sneered, seeing Sea-Splitting Demon King's intentions at a glance. Honestly, each cultivator who practices to the nascent soul realm, isn't each one selfish and afraid of death? Who would willingly risk their lives to test the depth of the formation for others? They could live for hundreds of years, and there are many riches and honors they haven't enjoyed yet. There is absolutely no need to fight to the death here. Since they've lived to this point, naturally they don't want to risk easily. Even if the Sea-Splitting Demon King is a great nascent soul late-stage cultivator, he can't force the other nascent souls to go to their deaths. But if it's just cultivators below the nascent soul realm, it would be like delivering fresh produce, unable to probe the depth of the 5th stage formation. That's right, just take this loss. My Sunset sect doesn't want to get involved in this. Since this divinity transformation relic now has a master, there's no need to continue exploring. My Sunset Sect has decided to give up attacking this place. The Sunset Sect master, Daoist Jade Sun, was prepared to give up. Even though he had been conned by the mysterious Taoist, he swallowed his anger, considering it as a valuable lesson paid for. That's right. If you demon cultivators want to attack, feel free to try. My Tianjian sect will not get involved anymore. Sect Master Daoist Kongsu of the Tianjian sect also nodded. What? Hearing this, many nascent soul demon cultivators' faces were very ugly. They didn't expect these righteous sect nascent soul cultivators to endure so much. Even though they lost a great deal, they weren't willing to take revenge. But if they only acted on their own without these righteous sect nascent soul cultivators, their chance of winning wasn't very high. They would likely be backfired by the power of the fifth stage formation, dying without a trace. Chapter 493 Ancient Era's Secrets, Fusion Phenomenon _2. In that case, it would be to the benefit of these righteous cultivators. Perhaps this is exactly the intention of these shameless cultivators of the righteous sects, wanting to sit back and watch the battle unfold. Watching them fight amongst themselves, both sides ending in defeat. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Before these nascent soul demon cultivators could say anything, the five major nascent soul powers, Wuji Alliance, Suanbao Tower, Tianjian Sect, Sunset Sect, and Piao Miao Palace, immediately boarded their flying boats and swiftly departed. In the blink of an eye, only Haisha Palace, Sky Demon Sect, and Xianyin Sect of the three demonic sects remained in this sea area. Damn things, those cunning old foxes actually left. The Haisha Palace's palace master, the sea-splitting demon king, was half dead with anger. The departure of these righteous nascent soul cultivators completely ruined his plans, now they simply couldn't clap with one hand. Could it be that these old guys discovered something so they dare not attack this divinity transformation relic again? The Sky Demon Sect's sect master, Qian Ziyun's beautiful eyes flickered uncertainly. She was an incredibly smart woman, instinctively sensing something was amiss. Truthfully, she also held a tooth-grinding hatred for this mysterious Daoist. She had never suffered such a loss in her life. In her life, she had always freely roamed the Kanglan Sea area, never being blackmailed like this by anyone. But there was nothing she could do. To survive, she had no choice but to agree to the other party's demands. If these narrow-minded old guys can suppress their inner anger, they must have discovered something incredible. Before completely understanding the depth of the Kurong sect, we'd better not act rashly. There's no need to rush for revenge. The Xianyin sect's sect master, the Seven Emotions Demon King, spoke solemnly. He had also calmed down now. If that's the case, then we'll temporarily cease fire. We will deal with this person after we find a way to break the fifth stage grand array. The sea-splitting Demon King had no choice, he could only plan for the long term. At this time, on a flying boat, the sect masters of Suanbao Tower, Wuji Alliance, Tianjian Sect, Piao Miao Palace, Sunset Sect, and other nascent soul powers, along with the nascent soul elders, gathered together to hold a nascent soul meeting. Daoist Kongsu, what did you sense exactly? Why did you insist that we leave so urgently? Daoist Unlimited looked at Tianjian Sect's sect master, Daoist Kongsu. Initially, he also wanted to test the power of the 5 stages of the Kurong sect's grand array. But after receiving the secret message from Daoist Kongsu, he chose to follow and leave. After all, Daoist Kongsu was his old friend and naturally would not deceive him. That divinity transformation relic is probably not simple. If I'm not mistaken, a divinity transformation demon might be sealed atop it. Daoist Kongsu spoke in a low voice. What? At his words, the pupils of the nascent soul cultivators present contracted. They looked at Daoist Kongsu in disbelief. They naturally knew what a divinity transformation demon represented. It was an unprecedented disaster. If a divinity transformation demon really escaped, no one could survive. Is it true or false, Daoist Kongsu, what did you discover? Daoist Jade Sun was startled. He wanted to understand the matter of the divinity transformation demon. Because this matter is of great importance. A careless mistake could cause a huge commotion in the Kanglan Sea area. It would cause devastation, with countless dead and injured. My senses are not wrong. Because the treasure sword in my hand is the ancient spirit sword, the demon-slaying sword. This ancient spirit sword has slain countless demons and it's extremely sensitive to the aura of demons. The moment I set foot on that divinity transformation relic, this demon-slaying sword was issuing constant warnings. As if it was warning me that this place is the lair of a divinity transformation demon and extremely dangerous. Deist Kongsu spoke in a very serious tone. The many nascent soul cultivators naturally heard of the demon-slaying sword. This ancient spirit sword's power was infinite. It was a peerless spirit sword left behind by the founder of the Tianjian sect. With the power of this ancient spirit sword, coupled with the sword cultivator's attack power, the Tianjian sect master's combat power was unparalleled and was known as the #1 cultivator of the Kanglan Sea area. By the way, I've been wondering before, how did the powerful Kurong sect collapse? The power of that 5th upstage grand array, the 4 phenomena Kurong array, was simply invincible. Even if a divinity transformation elder pounded on the door, they would probably be fearless. Normally speaking, the Kurong sect should not have been annihilated and should have survived until today. It seems the principal offender for the destruction of Kurong sect is probably the divinity transformation demon. Suanbao Tower's Tower Master, Master of Heavenly Calculations, had a flash of light in their eyes, as if recalling many secrets of the ancient era. Earlier, that mysterious deist listed a lot of 4th stage materials for us. Among them was the 4th stage material, the sealing demon stone. Could it be that this mysterious deist wants to repair the array sealing the demon and that's why he asked for these 4th stage materials? The Piao Miao Palace's palace master Ye Fei Rou had a flash of light in her beautiful eyes. She couldn't help but have a slight liking for Master Mu. To be honest, she originally thought this guy was an opportunist, a reckless hooligan, no different from a demon cultivator. But now it seemed that he was a champion of justice shouldering a heavy responsibility. So, does that mean that a divinity transformation demon may indeed be sealed in that divinity transformation relic? No wonder you wanted us to leave and not continue attacking that divinity transformation relic. I'm afraid that if we break that 5th stage array, we might let the divinity transformation demon inside escape. Deist Unlimited realized. He understood Deist Kongsu's many concerns. Chapter 494 Ancient Era's Secrets, Fusion Phenomenon _3 The Kurong sect's divinity transformation relics did indeed leave behind numerous spiritual medicines and a huge amount of treasures. But no matter how valuable the treasure, you need to have a life to enjoy them. If the demons transformed in divinity inside were to escape, all the nascent soul cultivators present would have to die. It would even affect countless lives in the Kanglan Sea area. If that's the case, why didn't the mysterious deist take the initiative to tell us about these issues? If we knew there were demons transformed into divinity here, we might not have continued to attack this place. Deist Jadesun was puzzled. I'm afraid they don't trust us. After all, this world is inhabited by all sorts of cultivators. Who knows if they want to release the seal on the demons transformed into divinity? They dared not gamble on it, so naturally, they wouldn't let anyone know about the demons. Deist Kongsu voiced his suspicion. I see. The many nascent soul cultivators also nodded. If they were the descendants of the Kurong sect, they probably wouldn't let this information leak out unless it was absolutely necessary. After all, one can never tell what others are thinking. If someone really knew this information and wanted to break the seal, it would truly be a disaster. So, they simply dared not gamble on it. Fellow deists. Actually, I'm very curious about where these demons come from. As far as I know, it seems that there were no demons in our world originally. Then one day, they suddenly appeared in our world. Why is that? A curious nascent soul cultivator asked. It seemed that news about demons was being suppressed by some power. Ordinary cultivators literally know nothing about it. The answer to this question is simple, because the demons are not creatures of our world. They are creatures from the ancient demon realm. Deist Kongsu said solemnly. The ancient demon realm. The many nascent soul cultivators looked at Deist Kongsu curiously, knowing that Tianjian sect has an ancient history. Their founder had fought with demons countless times, so they must have a good understanding of the history of the demons. Yes, the ancient demon realm. I believe you have read in the classics that there are countless worlds in the endless void. Our world is also among them. Although the distance between worlds is extremely remote and even God transformation cultivators cannot cross the endless void to traverse to another world. However, accidents will happen, that is the world fusion. Deist Kongsu said in a deep voice. World fusion? What is world fusion? The many nascent soul cultivators were even more puzzled. World fusion, as its name implies, is the fusion of two worlds. In the endless void, each world is not stationary, in fact, each world is in motion. Our world is no exception, it is following a certain trajectory in the endless void. Normally, many worlds move along a certain path and do not collide with each other. But accidents do happen. In the history of our cultivation world, the phenomenon of world fusion has occurred several times. Deist Kongsu explained. So, what will happen to our cultivation world if a world fusion event occurs? Someone asked curiously. It would create a world gate. Due to the collision of two large worlds, there will be a brief fusion phenomenon. World gates will appear all over the world. At this time, the creatures of the two worlds can move freely through the world gate. Deist Kongsu explained. Wait, could it be that the demons entered our world through the world gate? The pupils of the many nascent soul cultivators contracted. They seemed to have glimpsed the events that had happened in the ancient era. The disaster that had occurred in the ancient era may have been due to world fusion. The many scattered demons might also be related to world fusion. Yes, indeed. In the ancient era, the ancient demon realm and our cultivation world experienced a world fusion event. The result was, as you can imagine, a large number of demons entered our cultivation world through the world gate. Then, an unprecedented demon disaster occurred. Our cultivation world was thriving, with many nascent soul sects born and even fifth-stage spirit veins. Even now and then, there were God transformation cultivators ascending to the spirit world. But due to the invasion of the ancient demon realm, a large number of demons appeared in the cultivation world, raping and pillaging. To counter them, many nascent soul sects perished. Fortunately, the world fusion event only lasted for a short time, about 300 years. After the 300 years, the ancient demon realm left. But a large number of demons stayed behind, and up to now, they have been causing continuous harm to the cultivation world. Deist Kongsu said in a deep voice, recounting the events that had occurred in the ancient era one by one. During the ancient era, many fifth-stage spirit veins were nurtured. Fourth-stage spirit veins were also commonly seen, and the cultivation world was in a prosperous age. But due to the invasion of the demons, battles broke out with the cultivators. Both sides fought fiercely, causing many spirit veins to collapse and even got polluted by the demons. Over time, many spirit veins were dispersed. Up until now, there are no fifth-stage spirit veins to be seen in the Kanglan Sea. Chapter 495. Ancient Era's Secrets, Fusion Phenomenon _4. Of course, with the return of the Kurong sect's divinity transformation relics, the Kanglan Sea region once again possessed a fifth-stage spirit vein. Many nascent soul cultivators were shocked. They didn't expect that such a thing happened in the cultivation world during the ancient era. It was simply a vast epic. Countless cultivators fell in battles against demons. Many divinity transformation relics, nascent soul relics, were all left behind from a battle in the ancient era. Now they would never be able to return to the glory of the cultivation world during the ancient era. This wasn't because they were incapable. It's just that the current cultivation environment couldn't compare to the ancient times. I have read the classics. It seems that not only the ancient demon realm and our cultivation world have experienced this merging phenomenon. Are there other worlds that also experienced similar phenomena? Someone asked curiously. Indeed, there is another world that has also experienced a merging phenomenon with us. That is the ancient demon realm. It is rumored that all creatures in this world are the demon clan, demons, and there are no humans. The cultivation world in the ancient era did not have any demons. But since the ancient demon realm and our cultivation world underwent a merging phenomenon, a large number of demons moved from the ancient demon realm and settled in our cultivation world. And that merging phenomenon lasted for 1,000 years, so it had a more profound impact on our cultivation world. Now in various parts of our cultivation world, the existence of demons can be seen everywhere, all of which are the effects of the ancient demon realm. However, although the ancient demon realm is powerful, it is only comparable to us, and it didn't cause too much damage to us. After all, humans and demons can coexist reluctantly. Everyone has wisdom and knows that they can negotiate if they can't beat the other, and they can coexist peacefully. But the demon is different. They are not only the enemies of humans, but also the enemies of the demon clan. Deist Kongsu said solemnly. He had a firm stance towards demons, that is, a dead demon was a good demon. The demons actually came from the ancient demon realm. Many nascent soul cultivators were shocked, completely engrossed. Only an ancient sect like Tianjian sect could possess so many ancient classics. Ordinary nascent soul cultivators, having no inheritance, wouldn't know these pieces of information. In this case, is there a possibility that a merging phenomenon will happen again? Someone asked curiously. To be honest, there isn't zero chance of the merging phenomenon happening again. But I think at least in our generation, we might not see it. Deist Kongsu said readily. After all, the meeting of two realms is rare and only occurs once every tens of thousands of years. During such a long time, they probably would have died from their lifespan running out. He did not believe that his luck was so good that he would encounter the merging phenomenon during his lifetime. But there are so many thousand-year-old spiritual medicines left on the island of Kurong sect. Are we just going to give up? Someone was still unwilling to give up. After all, these directly concerned their chances of becoming a Dao, and no one wanted to give up. Well, although we cannot attack the Kurong, it does not mean we cannot get the thousand-year-old spiritual medicine from there. Not all treasures in the world need to be obtained by fighting. Trading can also achieve the same goal. Deist Heavenly Calculation, the master of Suanbao Tower, smiled slightly. Trading. When these words came out, everyone's eyes suddenly lit up. They too had thought of this possibility. That's right. As far as I know, there are probably only a few people left on the entire Kurong Sex Island. But with so many thousand-year-old spiritual medicines there, the mysterious Deist wouldn't be able to use them all. The things that he can't use, wouldn't be a big deal to trade. And if the other party wants to restore the 5th stage big array, they will probably need more 5th stage materials. These things, if we look everywhere within the Kanglan Sea, we'll be able to find. We're not afraid if the other party has needs, we'd be more worried if they didn't need anything. Deist Heavenly Calculation revealed a confident smile. After all, the Suanbao Tower is an organization that does business. He believed that nothing in the world could not be traded. As long as one could find the needs of both parties, it would work. Indeed, if the other party wants to restore the Kurong sect, we might be able to offer our full support. But before that, we need to establish a good relationship with them. Only in this way, we can possibly trade the suitable spiritual medicine from them. Deist Jadesun nodded in agreement. Since they couldn't fight with the other party, they could only build a good relationship with them. Once the relationship was established, they could obtain the thousand-year-old spiritual medicine from the other party. Of course, they would prefer to rob if they could. The problem is they were no match for the other party, so now they could only reason. Chapter 496. The birth of the ancient teleportation array, Medicine Gu, Gu of 10,000 medicines _1. Several days later. Due to the closure of the ruins of Kurong sect, many nascent soul cultivators left, and the seas near the Tri-Star Island group regained their tranquility. After all, without the attraction of the divinity transformation ruins, these cultivators would naturally not continue to stay here. For Xianhuang sect, this was unquestionably good news. It was for this reason that the Tri-Star Island group lifted the closure, turned off the Xianyan heavy water formation, reopened the teleportation array, and facilitated other cultivators in reaching the Immortal Mist City. At this moment, in a quiet room atop the Immortal Mist Peak. At this time, Zhou Sui had obtained the creation jade dew water and a variety of auxiliary materials, all of which were the main ingredients for refining medicine Gu. Boom! Without saying a second word, he immediately tossed these materials into the Gu divine bowl. A mysterious force suddenly refined these materials at a rapid pace, melting them into a vast grey mist. Who knows how much time had passed, but countless swirls of grey mist came together, condensing into a green Gu insect with densely packed green runes floating on its surface. It was pervaded by a strong vitality, deep and unfathomable. It appeared in the Gu divine bowl, rolling and darting about like a fish. Whoosh! This green Gu insect flashed and instantly drilled out of the Gu divine bowl, entered Zhou Sui's body, and then a massive amount of information poured into the depths of his sea of consciousness. Medicine Gu, a heavenly earthly wondrous insect bred from countless spiritual medicines, it has the special ability to aid the growth of spiritual medicines and accelerate their growth rate. It's a Gu of 10,000 medicines. Description: cultivate it well. With Medicine Gu, you can easily cultivate the many ancient spiritual medicines and even immortal elixirs of the world. Then, you will become the king of 10,000 medicines. Not bad. I need to find a place to test the power of Medicine Gu. Right, aren't there many herb gardens inside the ruins of the Kurong sect? It's a perfect opportunity to test the power of Medicine Gu and see if it's as formidable as they say. Zhou Sui touched his chin. He could sense the extraordinary power of Medicine Gu, which housed a vast life force within his body. Whoosh! At this thought, his figure flashed, utilizing the power of the teleportation insect, and instantly moved to the island of the Kurong sect. After all, the island was only several 100,000 kilometers from Water Star Island. But now, the movement range of the teleportation insect exceeded 10 million kilometers. This distance was absolutely nothing. Haha, finally this place belongs to me. But first, let's see the situation on this island. Zhou Sui laughed heartily, feeling very satisfied. Those nascent soul ancestors had worked to death, unknowingly causing so many casualties, but he benefited from their fight and controlled the 5th stage formation here. Now, the whole divinity transformation ruins belonged to him. No one could snatch it from him. Others had to venture into the ruins for treasure. As for him, he directly occupied the entire divinity transformation ruins and slowly searched for treasure. Since this place belonged to him, it wasn't too late to slowly excavate the treasures inside. Boom! At this moment, he manipulated the power of the array heart goo, integrated his consciousness into the array, and then spread it out, covering a diameter of more than 1.6 million kilometers over the whole island. Instantly, the entire appearance of the island was presented before him. Simply put, the island was divided into 2 major areas. The periphery housed multiple cities and boasts extensive spiritual fields and herb gardens, primarily inhabited by cultivators below the Golden Core stage. Unfortunately, these cities, having withstood the passage of time and the ravages of war, had already turned into ruins. Crumbled walls everywhere, corpses littered the ground. From their clothing, it could be known that these corpses were once the outer disciples of the Kurong sect. The other was the core area, where the 5th order spirit vein was located, and there were no cities here. This was where the nascent soul cultivators and god transformation cultivators resided. They built their own palaces on each of the peaks. Unfortunately, these palaces were also in a state of dilapidation, unable to withstand the passage of time, and had collapsed one after another. Several large pits appeared on the ground, with rocks splattered everywhere and dust billowing. It was easy to imagine that this area must have experienced a great battle in the past. The enemies stormed into the Kurong sect's headquarters, intending to annihilate the sect. But at the key moment, the Kurong sect used a special method to wipe out the enemies. At the same time, the island was sent deep into the dimensional space-time. It didn't emerge from dimensional space-time until now, once again appearing before the world. As expected, this place has become a wasteland. Zhou Sui took a deep breath. He felt the breath of countless years flowing through this island, ancient and vicissitudes, seeming to record tens of thousands of years of history. Regrettably, even the most glorious sects are no match for the power of time. The former nascent soul sect has already been reduced to ashes. Of course, if they had not perished, it wouldn't be his turn to own this enormous island. Wait a minute, could this be an ancient teleportation array? Just at this moment, Zhou Sui's heart moved. He immediately sensed that there was a massive teleportation array at the center of the island, covered with intricate array lines, extremely profound. Even with his current teleportation array cultivation level, which was 5th stage lower tier, he was able to instantly recognize that this was undoubtedly an ancient teleportation array. Right, it's quite normal for the Kurong sect to have an ancient teleportation array. Chapter 497. The birth of the ancient teleportation array, medicine goo of 10,000 medicines _2. After all, in ancient times, they were a nascent soul sect and the overlord of the Kanglan Sea. To maintain the rule of the Kurong sect, an ancient teleportation array was necessarily required. Moreover, this is a mother sub-transport array, and here is the mother array. If sub-transport arrays are built all over the Kanglan Sea, they can connect with the mother array. According to the past might of the Kurong sect, perhaps this ancient teleportation array could even reach other parts of the cultivation world. Like the eastern wastelands and other large lands, for example. Zhou Sui touched his chin. Immediately, he felt a little excited. Originally, it was nearly impossible to go from the Kanglan Sea to other places. Because the distance was just too far. If you rely on the speed of a 4th stage flying boat, who knows how long it will take. Even god transformation cultivators don't have that much lifespan to consume. Therefore, no cultivator wants to go to other cultivation areas. But if there is an ancient teleportation array, it's a different situation. Once it is activated, it can cross countless billions of miles in distance. It lets you easily cross infinite distances and arrive at another place. Even if you don't want to go to other cultivation areas, this ancient teleportation array can serve as an escape route. If a real danger is encountered, it's possible to use the ancient teleportation array to flee to other places. It could be said, having such an ancient teleportation array would bring a plethora of benefits. Not bad, not bad. Even though it's an ancient teleportation array, which has experienced tens of thousands of years, many parts of the array have broken down. But it can still be repaired. Zhou Sui was very excited. If it was another array master, even upon seeing this broken ancient teleportation array, most likely they would be helpless, unable to activate this ancient teleportation array at all. But he is different. With the aid of the array Heartgu, he could understand the mysteries of every array. The ancient teleportation array was no different. Even if he has never seen a similar array before, once it's successfully assimilated, then the ancient teleportation array would have no secrets. He would also know how to fix the array. Luxurious, it's simply too luxurious. The whole island actually has 108 short-distance transport arrays. The transport arrays are interconnected. Is this the foundation of a nascent soul sect? Zhou Sui was amazed. He checked the array situation on the island and immediately found many transfer arrays on the island. After all, the whole island has a diameter of more than 1.6 million kilometers. Even for a nascent soul cultivator, it is a long distance. Flying from the north to the south requires a lot of time. Not to mention for a Qi cultivation stage cultivator, flying would consume an unknown amount of time. But what about the Kurong sect? They chose to build transport arrays on the island. So no matter where you are on the island, you can reach anywhere instantly through the transport array. This greatly facilitated the lives of the cultivators on the island. But the problem is that building a transport array requires a lot of fourth-grade materials, including void dark stone, which are precious, not just any sect can afford them. Not to mention, these transport arrays need high-quality spirit stones as energy. Where could ordinary forces get so much money? Just this alone is enough to prove the wealth of the Kurong sect in the past. Only worthy of being the former nascent soul overlord of the Kanglan Sea, they were simply too wealthy. Not bad, not bad. Although many of these short-distance transport arrays are broken. But if repaired, they can still be used. And the high-quality spirit stones inside the transport array are still there. As long as it's successfully repaired, the transport array across the whole island can be used again. No, it's not just that. This ancient teleportation array can transport to an even more distant place, further than the mother transport array of the Wuji Alliance. If this ancient teleportation array could be activated, and if this array could serve as the mother transport array, then the range of the array formation will cover the entire Kanglan Sea region. No matter where one is in the Kanglan Sea region, he could instantaneously reach this array. Zhou Sui was very excited. He immediately thought of all sorts of formations for this ancient teleportation array. But he quickly calmed down. After all, even if the ancient teleportation array really needed to be activated, the Xianhuang sect would have to become the overlord of the Kanglan Sea region. Only then could the other areas in the Kanglan Sea region use the child transport array of this ancient teleportation array. Only an absolute overlord would be able to popularize the teleportation array formation in the Kanglan Sea region. Let's forget about it. There's no rush. The so-called teleportation array is just the icing on the cake. There's absolutely no need to rush its promotion. For cultivators, cultivation is the foundation, everything else does not matter. Let's first take a look at the medicinal garden on the island. At this point, Zhou Sui also became calm, taking a deep breath. He knew that he could not be proud. Although he had indeed advanced to the nascent soul realm now, he was not invincible in this world. Even a nascent soul sect like Kurong sect had met with destruction. If he was careless, it could also end up like the Kurong sect. It was not an impossible eventuality. Being arrogant can lead to disaster. He always remembered this saying. After a moment, he finally understood the specifics of the medicinal gardens on this island. The whole island has one Garden of God transformation level, 108 for nascent soul level, 360 for golden core level, and 1024 of foundation establishment level. Kurong sect, as a former spiritual medicine cultivating nascent soul sect, indeed built so many medicinal gardens. It's like every cultivator at the nascent soul level has their own garden. However, due to the passage of time and poor management, a large number of spiritual medicines have long withered. Only a few resilient spiritual medicines have survived. That's why there are so many thousand-year-old spiritual medicines in the gardens. This is great. There are so many thousand-year-old spiritual medicines left. It seems there won't be any major issues in finding the source of spiritual medicines for the refining of the 4th-grade treasure pills. Let's test the power of medicine goo. Let's see if it's as powerful as it's reputed to be. Let's go to a foundation establishment grade medicine garden first. After all, the current medicine goo is only at the 1st order level. At present, it can't be used on high-level spiritual medicines. Zhou Sui narrowed his eyes. He disappeared in a flash and immediately arrived in a foundation establishment stage medicinal garden. This garden was covered by a 2nd stage grand array that occupied an area of more than 100 acres. The spiritual medicines in this garden had almost all withered and turned the place into a wasteland. It needs to be noted that spiritual medicines also have grades. The life of common 1st-grade spiritual medicines lasts only a few decades. Once that time passes, they will wither and decay, becoming fertilizer for the soil. The lifespan of 2nd-grade spiritual medicine is only up to 100 years. Thus, 100-year-old spiritual medicine is the limit of 2nd-grade spiritual medicine. The lifespan of 3rd-grade spiritual medicine does not exceed 500 years. Once 500 years have passed, it too will wither. Only the 4th-grade spiritual medicine will surpass 1,000 years, growing into a 1,000-year-old spiritual medicine, thus possessing a massive medicinal potency. It is said that the lifespans of 5th and 6th-grade spiritual medicines can reach 10,000 years. However, such 10,000-year-old spiritual medicines are almost unseen, even God transformation cultivators may hardly find one. So, spiritual medicines can't grow unlimitedly. If the grade is not high enough, they might only survive for some decades before wilting and turning into ashes. Of course, if certain spiritual medicines encounter extraordinary events, they might break their own limits and advance to higher graded spirit medicines, therefore extending their own lifespan. This could also happen. However, such an occurrence is extremely rare. Therefore, every emergence of a 1,000-year-old spiritual medicine is a difficult process. Not only does it require the grade of the spirit medicine itself to be high, but it also necessitates extremely good growing conditions for the spirit medicine. In addition, over 1,000 years, it must not face any disasters or be picked by other cultivators. Because growing a 1,000-year-old spirit medicine is so difficult. Various 1,000-year-old spiritual medicines and ancient spirit medicines in the cultivation world are nearly extinct. Hence, the power of a medicine goo is so important. It can accelerate the growth of spiritual medicines, greatly reducing the time required for the growth. Cultivators don't need to wait for such a long time. A large number of 1,000-year-old spirit medicine can be produced in a short time. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. Chapter 498. The main ingredient of the God Transformation Pill, 9 Dragon's Vine, promotes to 2nd-grade spiritual root _1. At this moment, Zhou Sui sent a mental command to the medicine goo. Whoosh! Immediately, the medicine goo flew out, its mouth wide open. The unending medicinal aura of the whole medicinal garden transformed into a green mist, which was absorbed into the body of the medicine goo. At this moment, the medicine goo revealed a look of satisfaction. Clearly, this medicinal aura was like the most delicious food for it, one that could enhance its strength. One could see its aura rising at an exponential speed. Without a doubt, the ancient medicinal garden with its tremendous spiritual medicine aura was like a holy land for the medicine goo. Boom! The next second, the medicine goo opened its mouth again, spewing a large amount of golden mist. This cloud instantly shrouded the 100-mile medicinal garden like rain, covering every corner of the foundation establishment medicinal garden. The various spiritual medicine seeds buried deep in the earth, having been nourished by this golden mist, grew swiftly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In nearly an instant, the whole foundation establishment medicinal garden was filled with numerous 2nd-stage spiritual medicines which, in no time, reached their maturity, exuding a rich medicinal aura with fragrance filling the air. This is amazing! Witnessing this, Zhou Sui felt quite excited. He instantly understood the power possessed by the medicine goo. It feeds on the medicinal aura of numerous spiritual herbs. For these spiritual herbs, this aroma is constantly released without much use. But the medicine goo can make use of it, treating it as their daily food. Therefore, spiritual medicines and the medicine goo can complement each other. At the same time, the aura and fluid emitted from the medicine goo can accelerate the growth of spiritual medicines. The medicine goo is merely at the 1st-tier standard now, yet it can already significantly enhance the growth speed of 2nd-tier spiritual medicines. The effects would definitely be greater if it were to ascend to the 4th tier. Besides accelerating the growth of spiritual medicines, the power of the medicine gu also extends to improving the soil, transforming it rapidly into spiritual soil, making the land more apt for the growth of spiritual medicines. It can be said, the medicine gu is a natural-born master botanist. By possessing the medicine gu, one can continuously cultivate numerous top-tier spiritual medicines. However, the medicine gu is still in its growing phase. It needs to at least reach the 4th stage before it can assist him in catalyzing 4th stage spiritual medicines. Right, I must check how many thousand-year-old spiritual medicines still exist in these nascent soul-level medicinal gardens. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. After all, since he advanced to the early stage nascent soul, he found his cultivation to be increasingly difficult and the progress remarkably slow. Without the assistance of pills and spiritual medicines, the journey ahead would be extremely challenging. Even after hundreds of years of cultivation, it might still be impossible to overcome the bottleneck. Many nascent soul cultivators, despite living for thousands of years, remained at the early stage nascent soul level. This indicated the difficulty of this stage. Fortunately, he had received a divinity transformation rune where a large amount of thousand-year-old spiritual medicines grew. Compared to other nascent soul cultivators, he was undoubtedly very fortunate. After several hours, he had finally finished inspecting the 108 nascent soul-level medicinal gardens. This is excellent. So many thousand-year-old spiritual medicines have survived. Isn't this the main medicine for making the nascent soul pill, the thousand-year soul infant fruit? It's everywhere in the medicinal garden. With these main materials, I can create more nascent soul pills without seeking help from others. My God, this is the thousand-year-old spirit-washing begonia, a spiritual medicine that can improve one's spiritual root aptitude. Its effectiveness lasts only once, but it would be very useful to my Deo companions as they can also use it to promote their spiritual root aptitude. Right, there's no rush to use the spirit-washing begonias. When the medicine gu ascends to the 4th stage, I can cultivate them on a larger scale so that all my Deo companions can use them to enhance their spiritual root aptitude. Wait a minute, this is the thousand-year-old purple blood lingzi, the main medicine for the 4th tier treasure pill, the purple blood pill. The purple blood pill is 3 times more effective than the Qingming pill. Just one purple blood pill can save 20 years of hard cultivation, its value is immense. This is truly deserving of a nascent soul level medicinal garden, I've hit the jackpot now. Zhou Sui was exhilarated. Although he had known that he would surely gain immeasurable benefits from obtaining the divinity transformation rune, he was still astonished when he carefully counted his gain. Of course, due to the passage of time, most of the nascent soul-level medicinal gardens were in a semi-destroyed state, with numerous thousand-year-old spiritual medicines having withered. However, even so, there were still some thousand-year-old spiritual medicines that survived. This was more than enough to meet the needs of many nascent soul cultivators. Naturally, these thousand-year-old spiritual medicines belong to him now. Right, I should check what's been planted in the God Transformation Garden. To tell the truth, Zhou Sui was now more curious about the God Transformation Medicinal Garden on the island. It was the only God Transformation Medicinal Garden, and it housed many 5th stage spiritual medicines, which were extremely valuable. These were basically lost ancient spiritual medicines in the current cultivation world. Every single piece could drive countless nascent soul cultivators mad with desire. Of course, the entire God Transformation Medicinal Garden was surrounded by a 5th-order formation. Even if outsiders wanted to enter this God Transformation Medicinal Garden, it would be nearly impossible. However, the large 5th-order formation on the island had been assimilated and deciphered by the Array Heart Gu, and even the God Transformation Garden could not hinder his progress. Chapter 499. The main ingredient of the God Transformation Pill, 9 Dragon's Vine, promotes to 2nd grade spiritual root _2. Wow, just as I expected, they are all 5th stage spiritual medicines. And after a long growth period, they have essentially matured completely. They are 3,000-year-old 5th stage spiritual medicines. Wait a minute, isn't this the 9 Dragon's Vine, the main ingredient in the God Transformation Pill that helps nascent soul late-stage cultivators break through to the divinity transformation realm? At this instant, Zhou Sui's pupils constrict. He immediately notices a 5th stage spiritual medicine that has grown to a maturity of 3,000 years old in this medicinal garden. The so-called God Transformation Pill is naturally the rare pill that aids nascent soul cultivators in advancing to the divinity transformation realm. This kind of pill, even in the ancient era, was incredibly precious. Besides the nascent soul sect, hardly anyone could obtain it. Not to mention in the current era, the God Transformation Pill has long been lost and is only referred to as a legendary treasure pill. As for why it became extinct, it is naturally because the main ingredient, the 9 dragons vine, disappeared completely. Almost no one can find this main ingredient. But he never expected that he could find it in the medicinal garden here. Without a doubt, if those late-stage nascent soul cultivators knew about the existence of the 9 dragons vine, they would rush here in throngs. Even if it means paying any price, they would want to obtain the 5th stage spiritual medicine, the 9 dragons vine. It could even trigger a war that is more horrific and brutal than the previous one. This time, it might not be so easy to appease the conflict. Of course, so far only he knows about the existence of the 9 dragons vine, so naturally the news won't leak out. Incredible, it's really incredible. There are so many 5th stage spiritual medicines here, and all of them have matured. Even God Transformation cultivators would go crazy if they were here. Zhou Sui is astonished, feeling his heart trembling. At this moment, he finally understands just how vast the wealth he has discovered truly is. Owning this nascent remnant is akin to possessing wealth that could rival a nation. If it were in the ancient era, it would be enough to provoke the nascent soul sects to attack him. Even the divinity transformation cultivators of the past would be unable to possess such wealth. It took tens of thousands of years for these 5th stage spiritual medicines to mature. If they were to grow normally, even God Transformation cultivators wouldn't be able to wait for these 5th stage spiritual medicines to mature. Of course, the limit of a 5th stage spiritual medicine is 3,000 years. Once they grow to 3,000 years, their growth basically stops. But it is still more than enough. The medicinal properties contained in a 3,000-year-old spiritual medicine are indeed astonishing. Even the cultivation of God Transformation cultivators can be satisfied. Wait a minute, isn't this a 5th stage spiritual medicine called Buddha Flame Root? This is a 5th stage spiritual medicine that can improve spiritual root aptitude. It's even more precious than a 1,000-year-old spiritual medicine such as spirit washing begonia. It's said that after consuming this 5th stage spiritual medicine, one's spiritual root will undergo Buddha flame refining. Not only will it improve the spiritual root aptitude, but also enhance comprehension and boost soul power. Its uses are indeed innumerable. Is this real or false? To come across such an ancient spiritual medicine here is just too incredible. Zhou Sui feels his body trembling, overwhelmed with excitement. He never thought he would find another of this 5th stage spiritual medicine which can enhance the spiritual root aptitude, and it's even more precious than the 1,000-year-old spiritual medicine, spirit washing begonia. After all, the spirit washing begonia is just a 4th stage spiritual medicine. However, the Buddha flame root is a 5th stage spiritual medicine, a grade higher than the spirit washing begonia. Its preciousness, even in the ancient era, was worth cities. Not all God Transformation cultivators are eligible to have it. Honestly, he couldn't help but want to dig up this 5th stage spiritual medicine immediately and swallow it whole. After all, his spiritual root aptitude has reached the 3rd grade realm. If he could consume the Buddha flame root, his aptitude could definitely be improved to the 2nd grade realm, or even the 1st grade. The benefits of improving the aptitude are just too great. For cultivators, it is a comprehensive improvement. No, I can't just dig it up like this. It's too wasteful. I must leave the seeds behind to cultivate more Buddha flame roots. In this way, even my Deo companion can benefit from the power of the Buddha flame root. Even if I have a child in the future, they could consume it to improve their spiritual root aptitude. Zhou Sui calms his excited mind. It's not his fault. After all, the 5th stage spiritual medicine Buddha flame root is just too precious, virtually unheard of, essentially a lost ancient spiritual medicine. If it weren't for the ruins of the ancient sect Kurong sect, this ancient spiritual medicine would most likely not be found. Several days have passed. Zhou Sui has been on this island all the while, thoroughly investigating exactly how many treasures are left on this island. Sadly, apart from the medicinal garden, there aren't many treasures left on the island. He originally thought he could find some spiritual treasures, but he ended up finding nothing. Not only were no magical treasures or spiritual treasures left behind, but even the inheritance of the Kurong sect has disappeared. It seems that the entire scripture pavilion has been emptied. Could it be that the people of Kurong sect knew in advance that they would face a catastrophe, so they moved all the inheritance of Kurong sect out beforehand, leaving only an empty shell? Only the medicinal garden could not be moved, so a large amount of spiritual medicine was left. No, maybe they didn't want to leave a large amount of spiritual medicine. Chapter 500. The main ingredient of the God Transformation Pill, 9 Dragon's Vine, promotes to second grade spiritual root _3. The reason is purely because, in the ancient era, these spiritual herbs were just saplings, even possibly seeds. It was only due to the passage of time over countless years, that these spiritual medicine seeds grew into mature spiritual medicines. Zhou Sui stroked his chin, feeling a bit regretful. Originally, he thought he could gain a lot of heritage from the Kurong sect, but he found that the entire island had not left many heritage jade records. The only heritage jade records found were in the storage bags of the deceased cultivators of the Kurong sect. After all, these Kurong sect cultivators might have exchanged various cultivation techniques within the sect. They never thought they would die, and as a result, the legacy cultivation methods were left in their storage bags. The previous Green Emperor's longevity skill, as well as the godly skill Kurong Mysterious Light, were all found in this way. It can be said that he only received a small part of the Kurong sect's heritage. So that's how it is, I understand now. During the ancient times, the Kurong sect was besieged by demons and was about to be destroyed. Many nascent soul cultivators of the Kurong sect, as well as God transformation cultivators, realized that the sect was about to be destroyed. So in order to ensure the continuous lineage of the sect, they made preparations in advance and moved the disciples of the Kurong sect out beforehand. A part of the nascent soul elders of the Kurong sect, and the elder of God transformation, chose not to leave. They chose to stay on this island, and fight a battle to death with the demons. As a result, to protect the safety of the cultivation world, the nascent soul elder of the Kurong sect chose to die together with the demon. They exerted their full strength to seal the God transformation level demon. They spared no costs and moved this island into the depths of the dimensional space-time. However, after a long period of time, this island returned to the Kanglan Sea area. This means that perhaps the Kurong sect did not disappear completely, and there may still be a lineage left. But why hasn't there been any news about the Kurong sect in the Kanglan Sea area? If they really inherited the legacy of the Kurong sect, many people should know. Right, during the ancient era, different regions of the cultivation world were connected, the ancient teleportation array still existed, and the cultivators who inherited the lineage of the Kurong sect may not have stayed in the Kanglan Sea area, they might have gone to other regions in the cultivation world. But because of the destruction of the ancient teleportation array, due to the far distance, those cultivators who inherited the lineage of the Kurong sect could no longer return to the Kanglan Sea area, and over time, the Kurong sect naturally became extinct in the Kanglan Sea area. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. He felt that his speculation and the actual situation were already very close. He even suspected that the destruction of the ancient teleportation array had large relevance to those cultivators. After all, once the ancient teleportation array was destroyed, even the demons would have to traverse across an endless sea to get here. Even if they wanted to pursue and kill, it would be impossible. The vast distance was enough to intercept all dangers. In times of no danger, the ancient teleportation array was indeed a convenient mode of transportation. But if they encountered invincible enemies, the ancient teleportation array became a fatal thing. So, it made sense for the cultivators in ancient times to destroy the teleportation array. It was all done to save their own lives. Wait, does that mean the real inheritors of the Kurong sect might come looking for me? Coming to this thought, Zhou Sui had a start, and couldn't help considering this possibility. After all, for those cultivators who have inherited the Kurong sect's lineage, the appearance of this relic of divinity transformation is nothing short of the greatest good news, equivalent to finding their ancestral land back. If they knew about it, they would certainly swarm in, trying to take back this island. But since he had already obtained this island, he naturally wouldn't just give it up. If they wanted to fight, he would naturally accompany them to the end, refusing to budge an inch. They may not necessarily come looking for trouble, I might be worrying over nothing. After tens of thousands of years, anything can happen. Perhaps those cultivators who inherited the Kurong sect's lineage have long since been extinct, and the lineage has disappeared in the river of history. Of course, even if they are still alive now, the two places are so far apart, and information is closed. If the other party wants to receive this news, who knows when it will be? Of course, even if this news is really known by the successors of the Kurong sect, and even if they send a large army to kill, then what? Now, I've mastered the 5th stage formation. Even if God transformation cultivators come to attack, they have to think twice. I'm not afraid of these guys at all. Zhou Sui squinted his eyes, thinking of the various possibilities in the future. Even if the worst outcome happened, he could handle it with ease. In summary, no matter what happens in the future, only one's own strength matters most. If he is a god transformation cultivator, even if the cultivators who inherited the Kurong sect came to him, then so what? Daring to compete with him for this island, that's just seeking a path to death. In the cultivation world, whoever has the bigger fist is naturally right. Moreover, in a way, he has also obtained the Kurong sect's cultivation technique, and has obtained the true teachings of the Kurong sect. He can also be considered an heir of the Kurong sect. Impersonating as an heir of the Kurong sect would also be an easy task. Other forces wanting to dispute lineage with him are still too far away. So, he is not worried at all. With that thought, Zhou Sui decided not to bother with these matters. With the thought, he sent out many of his clones, scattering them in various places on the island.